Holographic reports. Captain Mifuni's APU is up and moving to Gate 3.
Don't over-squeeze the trigger.
Greetings, brothers. It is with great honor that I come to you to deliver another message. This is Neo, I Believe. And today I want to talk about the upcoming dangers of technology, particularly technology that is out of control. Now, as MGTOWs, we believe in sovereignty and having control over our own lives. And I fear, brothers, that this technological boom, with everything going overly technical, with everything being digital and computerized and recorded, with technology going haywire, I fear that this means a complete loss of control. And what do I mean by that? Well, where do I start? As we look into the world today, what are the big topics? Electric cars. I'll start with the automobile. Now, I particularly drive a gas car. And if I can help it, I will always drive a gas car. I don't believe in battery-powered cars. And I'll tell you this, battery cars are highly expensive. They require a dangerous amount of resources to produce. And above all, they are avenues for the government and other entities to control you. Now, a gas car, think about it. You start her up, you drive it pretty much wherever you want to go. Gas stations are everywhere. Very rarely would you be on the road and run out of gas, because fueling stations are so plentiful. And one thing you never see at these gas stations is a battery charger for electric cars. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that on any given road trip, if you've ever driven across several states, on any given road trip, you've probably ran into a total of zero. I mean, absolutely none of the battery chargers. However, you run into a fueling station pretty much every time you look up. You're never in danger of running out of gas because you know there's a fueling station on the road that you're taking. Now, that's one aspect, being able to charge up this battery-powered car on the road. Not saying they don't exist. Again, once you spend the insane amount of money for, let's say, a Tesla or a Lucid or whatever other brand is out there, they have particular software which shows you the maps of where you can fill up on the road, granted. But if you're not looking for these particular stations, how practical is it to be on the road and find somewhere you can recharge? But the main concern I have with the battery-powered car, does everybody remember roughly about March 15th, 2020? Give or take? Yeah, the entire world shut down. We were in a global lockdown like nothing we have ever seen before. Imagine, if you will, a second lockdown occurs. Now, those of us who were essential workers, we had the option, or obligation, I would have to say, to get in our gas cars and still drive to and from work. Make essential trips like the grocery store, doctor visits. And as far as transportation was concerned, fuel prices were very, very low. Now, imagine, if you will, battery-powered cars. The government says it's another lockdown. Technology is so advanced now that an evil government can pull a switch and your battery-powered car is disabled. You think you're charging up in your garage? You think you're gonna hop in your Tesla or your Lucid, and the government has total control to cut off the power supply of your car. Suddenly that Tesla Model X or that Lucid Air is basically a 6-figure paperweight. This is what I mean by loss of control. At any given time, you have submitted your freedom by giving away your gas car and substituting it for a battery car which is no longer under your control. If that isn't bad enough, what about the resources it takes to build these cars? Now, I know what you're thinking. Gas cars, you're probably thinking it takes a lot of resources for that too. Unfortunately, the government has taken a lot of fuel resources from outside countries, particularly the Middle East. The government refuses to use natural resources in our own nation, even though there's plenty to go around. Plenty. Now, the resources we do acquire fuel comes from most of the Middle Eastern countries, yes. But there are ways around that. Our government just chooses to use the Middle East as an outsource, while all the while we could get fuel right here in the United States of America. So I know what you're thinking. It's just as dangerous to acquire fuel as it is to acquire these lithium-ion batteries that power these electric cars. But that's where you're wrong. These lithium-ion batteries require a massive amounts of excavation and digging and mining. I mean, if the electric car really takes off, we're going to see a destruction of natural resources. You're going to be, one day wanting to get some exercise, and you're walking along and you say, hey, didn't a forest preserve used to be here? Darn, it sure was a nice view of that mountain. Hey, what happened to that forest preserve, and where did the mountain go? Well, the resources required to create these lithium-ion batteries would require mining so intense it would take out chunks of the planet. Pretty serious stuff, fellas. Now, it's one thing to have no control, but with the electric car, you soon lose control of your finances. As a battery on an electric car, let's say you need a new battery in your gas car. I mean, you have plenty of options. Whatever brand of battery is your preference, there's a battery for you. But I mean, that thing is at most $200, and that's generous. But your average battery, let's say even before the 2022 spike of prices, your battery could be as low as $75, depending on the car, of course. Now, a battery, if you want to get a battery replaced on a Tesla, you might be looking at anywhere from $15,000 upwards to $20,000 just to replace the battery. And from what I hear, it's actually not covered. You might have a warranty when you first buy the battery. Let's say, for example, you get a Tesla, and let's say they give you a pretty good warranty. Let's say they give you a 20-year warranty. Not a bad deal, actually. Let's say that battery goes out in 3 years. All right, it's under warranty. You replace it for free. Let's say another 4 years down the line, the battery goes out. Now, do you think they're going to replace it again if you've already used one replacement in that 20-year interval? More than likely, no. What they will do is charge you upwards of $20,000 to replace your battery. Gentlemen, to me, that's just crazy. Now, I've talked about the electric car, but let me get into one more topic on this video. I want to get into the topic of the smartphone. And you know what? Maybe that's a topic for another day. I'll save that one for you fellas at a later time. Anyway, the technological boom, in my opinion, spells out doom and gloom. I'll talk with you brothers later. Thank you and believe.